Okay, so which stats should I have on my next Necromancer build? I'll need to go ahead and farm a Shaco. I'll also need to go and grab a Stone of Jordan, naturally. I think I'm going to be focusing on Bone Spirit.
So class, as you can see, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Mr. Ruri?
I should probably put some points
Mr.
of exterior
Ruri?
too because of the Amazons.
Mr. Rui! What are you doing in my class?
Nothing, sir. Nothing. I'm just copying off the board, sir.
Lies! I bet you're working on another Diablo 2 character spreadsheet, aren't you? Ow!
I hope you enjoyed that skit at the start of the video. That is actually something that used to happen back in the day. Not me getting hit in the head by a marker or a piece of chalk, which is what my teachers actually used back in the day, because I never really got caught. But I can definitely tell you that I spent a copious amount of time in class mapping out character sheets for the characters that I wanted to go ahead and level up in Diablo 2. I used to play Diablo 2 with friends all the friggin' time on, was it called Closed Battle.net? Yeah, it was called Closed Battle.net because there was like, back then there was like Open Battle.net and Closed Battle.net. Open would be you would bring in your single player saves, which would usually be hacked to hell and back, and you'd be doing all kinds of crazy shenanigans. Or you could go into Closed Battle.net where the saves would actually be in Blizzard servers, which is kind of like standard practice for most Blizzard games nowadays. They steal away your saves and keep them in their servers so that you can't mess with them unless you're playing, you know, Diablo 3 on console or something like that. Then your saves are local. But, you know, besides the point, I played a whole lot of Diablo 2 back in the day. It is a very special game to me. I played a lot with friends. I have a lot of stories, such as the adventures of me and my friend Tom and how we would go around stealing other people's equipment with PvP by placing down like spears in the ground and stuff like that. If you've played Diablo 2 back in the day, you'd know how that works. Basically, you would get players to explode like a loot piñata. It was fantastic. It was the Wild West, basically, and it was one of the first games that I really dedicated myself to online. Like, to the point where I didn't even have like stable internet. We'd have dial-up back then, and I would have to see if I could steal passwords from other people to log on through dial-up because my father wouldn't want to, you know, pay for internet because he's all like, well, I'm already paying for the phone bill. Why do I got to pay for internet as well? Because back then, those were two different things. You would pay for the phone, and then if you wanted to also get access to the internet, you'd pay for the internet. And the internet would be billed to you in hours. So like you would buy 10 hours of internet for the whole month or something like that. And I remember at one point I had a friend of mine in the north of Portugal who was able to come up with the password for an ISDN connection of one of the biggest stores in Portugal. It was, it's called Fnac. It was the Fnac store in like one of our biggest malls, which is called Colombo. It was, so my friend had the ISDN password for Fnac from Colombo. And I would log into the internet using that information. It was the Wild West, okay? It really was. And basically, the two games that I played the most was StarCraft and Diablo 2. And Diablo 2 always ended up having a special place in my heart. Like, so many stories that I could tell about how at one point I had the most powerful executioner's sword in the entirety of Europe. Because there was a time in Diablo 2's history where there were a couple of duped items. I mean, eventually it became completely ridiculous and rampant with the amount of duped items that you could get, even in Closed Battle.net. But there was a time where the duped executioner sword, there was a duped version, which was like one that somebody was able to make, which had the highest amount of damage, right? And that, you know, you'd know the stats of that sword because it was a duped sword. Most people knew what the duped sword was. And so I had a friend of mine, very, very good friend of mine, who, I got him into Diablo 2. And there's a whole nother story behind that. Like, his computer ate Diablo 2 CDs twice. Like, his CD reader actually broke the CDs. We don't know what the hell was wrong with that thing, but his CD drive actually broke CDs. It was insane. He had to buy the game like 3 times. But anyway, so I got this friend of mine into Diablo 2, and he was so happy with the game that he was like, I'm going to give you my first 3 imbues, which for those who don't know what an imbue is, you'd basically grab a white item, which is the most common type of item in Diablo 2, and then you would bring it to the blacksmith, and the blacksmith would transform it into a rare item. And it was RNG. What you get is what you get, right? And so you get 3 imbues per character whenever you play through Diablo 2, because you get an imbue in the normal difficulty, another one in the nightmare difficulty, and another one in the hell difficulty. And so the first 2 imbues were complete trash, which was expected. And then the third one, on hell difficulty, my friend imbued the most powerful executioner's sword in the entirety of Europe. Now, I'm basing this off of the fact that, as far as I'm aware, the duped executioner's sword had the highest damage. Well, the damage of my friend, the executioner's sword my friend imbued for me, had an even higher amount of damage. And it did have one downside, though, which is one of the affixes that sword got was hit causes monster to flee, which is a very indesirable effect. Because, I mean, this was for a whirlwind barbarian. If you're whirlwinding around and you're like life stealing and mana stealing at the same time, and you're basically infinitely spinning around and killing monsters, last thing you want is for the monsters to run away. And I remember I told my friend, don't worry about it. I'll just get an ice blink on there. Boom, problem solved. Ice blink, for those who don't know, is an item that whenever you would hit a monster, it would freeze for a couple of seconds. So it's like, no, problem solved. You can't run if you're frozen. And that was me running around with an ice blink with the most powerful sword in Europe in Diablo 2. This was before Lord of Destruction, by the way, in case you guys are curious, because I believe Lord of Destruction, massive meta shifts and whatnot. I wasn't nearly as competitive during Lord of Destruction. But yeah, there's tons and tons of stories like that. But suffice it to say, huge fan of Diablo. And if you guys have been with the channel for a while, you'll be aware of the fact that I've done a series of videos about the fall of Diablo. I think it was in the secondary channel. I even made a review of Diablo Immortal, which was a complete piece of dog shit. Still is. I find it hilarious that there are some people that are so high on copium that they're like, oh man, behind all of the monetization, there's an actual good game underneath all of this. And I was like, no, there's not. You take away the monetization, it's still just a piece of shit, god, trash, garbage-ass game. Diablo Immortal is absolute garbage, okay? I was very disappointed with that, and that's also the time when a lot of stuff came out about Blizzard. You guys know the whole situation. I reported on it. There's like 6 videos or so of me spurging out over the fact that, there were problems with Diablo because massive fan. It even got to the point where I said, when Blizzard finally announced that they had a remaster of Diablo done, which is something that I had been waiting for decades, the remaster of Diablo 2, something that I'd been waiting for decades. And basically, I ended up saying I'm not going to play this because of the working conditions in Blizzard. Eventually, I bought the game after the Preach interviews, which I don't know if you guys saw that, where apparently it seemed like the working conditions were better. Nowadays, I don't even know anymore. I haven't really played it. I do intend to playing on Diablo 2, but the reason why I'm making this video, and I guess I'm 8 minutes in talking about old-ass stories from Diablo 2, is because I'm going to be playing Diablo 4 this weekend. But before I play Diablo 4 this weekend, I want to talk a little bit about Diablo 4. Not specifically about gameplay. I haven't really been following the development of the game or anything like that, because I believe that potentially the gameplay is going to be good. I'm going to be checking it out this weekend. I've gotten access to the early access beta that you guys see here on screen. As a matter of fact, I believe I can start playing it tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's when the whole thing begins. So we will be playing that tomorrow, and maybe we'll play it on Saturday and Sunday as well to really give it a good once-over. But I want to check out the gameplay to see if it's solid, right? But I also want to make sure that people understand that this is not an endorsement of Diablo 4, because I am still not a fan at all of the business model that they're going for in Diablo 4. I understand that this is the modern interpretation that a lot of people have of like, oh, but this is the industry now, this is the way that it is, everything's got to be like this. And I would just like to point out there's plenty cases of success that don't go down this monetization route. My advice is like, look, you got to do what you got to do. If you want to play the game, it's whatever. I am most likely, I mean, depending on the experience this weekend, I will most likely end up playing the final product in June, simply because I miss playing Diablo. And you guys can say like, oh, but Rurikhan, there's this game called Grim Dawn. I've played Grim Dawn. It's not Diablo. Rurikhan, there's Path of Exile. I've played Path of Exile. It's not Diablo. That's just the thing. Diablo is not just, to me, a set of mechanics. It is not just a set of gameplay things. It is also about the environment. The franchise itself has a certain feel to it that is important to me, particularly when it comes to Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is my favorite one. Most likely at some point this year, I will do a full playthrough of Diablo 2 in the channel. I think that'll be interesting, you know, looking back on that, and maybe some of you guys will be able to better understand why Diablo is such an important franchise for me, because I don't think I've ever really done much with Diablo on the channel besides playing like Diablo 3, which Diablo 3 was arguably, from a story standpoint, it was pretty bad. From a gameplay standpoint, the base Diablo 3 was also pretty bad. What was the name of the thing? It was the expansion, I forget. You guys know what I'm talking about. The expansion that happened afterwards, I forget the name. That is when things got better with Loot 2.0 and stuff. That's when things became much more interesting to me in Diablo 3, and I played a ton of that. But yeah. So Diablo is an important franchise to me. I'll most likely play Diablo 4. But I do want to call out some of the serious problems that I have with this business model, which is why we're in the official Diablo page. This is the official Diablo page, diablo4.blizzard.com. And if we go here, which is still diablo4.blizzard.com, I don't want anybody to think that I'm like, you know, coming up and making up things. You can check this for yourself. I'm going to be playing the PlayStation 5 version, by the way, this beta, to see what that's like. I know that most people are probably going to be playing on a PC. I believe this has crossplay. I'm not 100% sure, because I haven't really kept up with it that much. But, so, if you come here and say that you want to pre-order Diablo 4, you're going to get 4 editions, right? Let's take a look to see what we get with the standard edition. You get Diablo 4. You get Open Beta Early Access, which begins March 17th, which is tomorrow. This is the one thing that we're going to be playing. I'm getting it because I'm a content creator and they had like this campaign where I could just go in there and get a code. I haven't pre-ordered the game yet. Lightbearer Mount, Diablo 3 Inarius Wings, and Inarius Murloc Pet. So you get these items in Diablo 3. This is something that Blizzard does a lot. You know, you get crossover items and stuff like that. World of Warcraft, Amalgam of Rage mount. You get a mount in World of Warcraft. Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal. Umber Winged Darkness Cosmetic Set. Whatever. God-awful trash game. And that's it. That's what you get with the standard edition. Then you get to the Digital Deluxe Edition. You get all the things that I just said. But you also... And this is like, to me, this is the most contentious thing about this whole thing. And I know, and there's a ton of people out there that like to argue with me about this. They're like, it's not that big a deal, blah, blah. This is a massive fucking deal, and anyone who thinks otherwise is out of their fucking minds. Okay? 4 days early access to the game. This is straight up you're monetizing an in-game advantage. This is straight up pay to win. And if you think otherwise, you're just wrong. Like, you're just wrong. It's like, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you. I know that a lot of people out there like to keep changing the goalposts on what is pay to win, what is not pay to win. This is pay to win, okay? It's almost like, oh, there's a marathon happening. Okay, I want to have a 4-day head start on the marathon. It's like, wait, what? Maybe let's make it a little bit more fair for the marathon thing. I'm going to get like a 2-hour head start on this marathon. It's like, well, what the fuck? How's that fair to any of the other people? And I know but the season doesn't start until like a couple of weeks in the game. Blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. Okay? You are monetizing early access to the game, and that is 1,000,000% wrong. I don't like it. I don't like it in this game. I don't like when any other game does it. I don't like it. And in this case, they're actively monetizing it because it's going to be more expensive because you need a digital deluxe edition in order to get it. Sometimes, they'll do it like, hey, if you pre-order the game, you get to the game a little bit sooner than other people. That's one thing. That's what, for instance, what Final Fantasy XIV does. You can pre-order the game, you get earlier access, but you can do that with the standard edition. So the same edition that everybody else is paying for. That, to me, is not as big of a deal. It's still a problem. I still don't like it. But the fact that you put an extra price tag on it, I think is really disgusting. Then you have a bunch of more stuff. Temptation Mount, Hellborn, Carapace, Mount Armor. These are all cosmetic things. It's whatever. Then you have the Premium Season Battle Pass Unlock. So obviously there's going to be a seasonal battle pass. Blah, 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 blah. And that's where it ends. And then you have the Ultimate Edition where you have all of these things, the early access premium. And on top of it, you also get the Accelerated Seasonal Battle Pass Unlock. So look, there's a battle pass, there's going to be a free track, there's going to be a premium track, and then there's going to be an accelerated version of the battle pass, which includes the premium seasonal battle pass unlock plus 20 tier skips and cosmetics. So it skips you ahead of everybody else. It's again pushing you ahead of the line. And then there's also the Wings of the Creator emote, which I don't know what that is. I'm not a fan of like having wings in Diablo games. I think it's actually lame as fuck because it pretty much breaks the immersion. Like I remember for a while in Diablo 3, people were running around with like friggin' Kerrigan wings. I was like, what the? What? Or you could get like friggin' Tyrael wings, and it's like, are you an Archangel, motherfucker? Are you an Archangel in this video game? Is that what you're telling me? It's my character lore. No, you're a Nephilim. Shut the fuck up. You're not an Archangel. Why are you wearing an Archangel's wings? Why are you wearing Kerrigan's wings? It completely breaks immersion. And if that's going to be... Like, when you're creating an immersive thing, an immersive world, like the one that I'm assuming we're going to be getting in Diablo 4, it kind of sucks when people are running around with fucking wings on their backs because you're not a demon. You're supposed to be a Nephilim. At least that's what I would expect, You're not supposed to be a demon. You're not supposed to be an angel. Okay? So I don't like the wings thing. Pisses me off. Whatever. But now, let's get into the crux of the matter. Okay? How much is all of this going to cost? Okay, let's take a look-see here. We're looking at the PlayStation 5 version. I believe that the price on PC is probably going to be somewhat comparable. But anyway, so what do we got here? Actually, maybe I should check. Maybe I should check what the price is on PC as well, just out of curiosity. Okay, so I pulled up the PC prices as well. The PC prices are going to be in euro, but there's going to be some interesting things happening with the prices of this game, right? So, right here, the standard edition for PlayStation 5 is going to cost you 70 bones, $69.99. The deluxe edition is going to be $89.99. So that means that your earlier access to the game is valued at $20. That's what they're charging you for that earlier access, right? And then for the Ultimate Edition, you got $99.99. And then if you go to the BattleNet shop, there's a 1-to-1 conversion to euros, which is not great. And, people can say, oh, but it's because of country tax and blah, 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 blah. It's like, this is a digital good. It's a digital good. I don't understand, maybe I'm not too familiar with tax proceedings and all of that. What I'm familiar with is people in Europe getting completely screwed over because the dollar is not as valuable as the euro, just in case you're not aware of that. But don't worry, it's going to get a lot more egregious than that. But, you got a 1-to-1 conversion here, so I'm assuming that when it comes to dollar values, you're going to get the same thing. It's going to be $69.99 on PC or $89.99 or $99.99, depending on the version that you want, which is fine. That's fine. And even the 1-to-1 conversion from dollar to euros, that's fine. I'm used to that. It's whatever, right? But now let's take a look at something else. See, because here we're looking at the US store of PlayStation. Let's take a look at the EU store. Oh. So, how do we go from $69 to 79 euro? Holy shit balls! God damn, son! Who's doing the math on these things? Somebody please explain. But wait, let's actually, let's go to a conversion website. Maybe Rurikhan's wrong. Maybe Rurikhan has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to, currency conversion. Clearly, he's not that bright. He's probably got this whole thing wrong, right? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and check it out. $69.99 USD to euros. That goes to 65 euros. Huh. Well, that's interesting. If it's 65 euro, how the hell do we get the 79? I could see the one-to-one conversion. I could accept the one-to-one conversion. We've been conditioned to. But how in God's green earth do we go from $69.99 to $79.99 for a digital item? And it gets worse. Then you go from $89.99, which, by the way, if you're curious, that translates to 84 euro. And somehow it becomes $99.99. What? And then, if you want to go to the ultimate version, which is $99.99, it becomes 110 euro. And by the way, I just want you to keep this in mind. I just want you to keep all of this in mind. Digital game. It's not even a physical version of the game or anything like that. It is just a digital version of the game. Always online game. Does not support offline play as far as I'm aware. That's wild. That's friggin' wild. And in case you're curious, $99.99, that converts to 94 euro. It basically just like, just take it down to the 4 of whatever number you're talking about. So 69.99, 65, 89.99, 84, 99.99, 94. So, yeah, this is wild. My recommendation, by the way, for people that are thinking about playing Diablo 4, now I'm a content creator, so naturally, due to relevance and all of that stuff, if I want to cover the game, I need to cover it day one, which actually sucks because I'm going to have to pay big money. But if you are a regular gamer and you're like, I really want to play Diablo 4, my recommendation is wait. Wait until there's a discount or something like that. That's what I would do. If I was just like, if I wasn't creating content, that's what I would do. I'd wait and then I'd play it, But either way, that's the situation with Diablo 4. Now all that's left for me is to see if the gameplay is actually going to be worth it or not, which I will be checking out here on the channel. Hopefully you guys will tune in for the live streams and we can all talk about all of this stuff. But yeah, we'll see what the experience is like. But I don't know. I don't know, dude. We'll see what it's all about. Anyways, that's going to be it for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit up with a like. If you did not enjoy this video, hit up with a dislike. Feedback is important. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.